Hey guys, I'm out here at Babler State Park and I'm on an orienteering expedition. We are currently running the orange course for the Babler Cold O-Nose event. This is put on by the St. Louis Orienteering Club. And I'm actually on our trail, moving to the first control point. I'm not really running, but I am definitely moving a little bit faster. I did the easy course, and it wasn't too bad. But we're going to see how things go on this. Give you an idea of where we're at. Alright, so we're moving from control point 1 to control point 2. I'm going to bushwhack it through the woods up to the road, and then I'm going to run along the road and then cut in at that turn to waypoint 2. It's going to be probably easier than bushwhacking it all the way through with those high elevations. So let's get moving. Alright, so here's the deal. I'm moving between these two control points right here, 2 and 3. And I thought I was moving correctly, but for some reason I went from 2 down this direction. And I got confused as to where I was, because there's these little X's here. Those are man-made features. So I thought that the control point was right here, when really I should have went back. So I think I've oriented myself, and I'm going to continue down to these, and then I'm going to shoot a bearing over to the control point. I'll be honest, I'm kind of a little disappointed in my land navigation skills. And part of the reason is I think I'm using the map too much. I need to set a bearing and go. And I didn't do that. I tried to use the terrain features a little bit too much. So I'm going to come down to these buildings right here, which are actually right here. And then I'm going to shoot a bearing up that hill, and on the other side of that hill should be the control point. So let's see if I'm right. If not, hey, I got tuna in my backpack. I'm good for a day. Alright, that hill was killer. So here we are up on top of the terrain feature. This is right here. Now for some reason, see if it focuses, I thought it was down over here. And I was confused because I could see those buildings and I couldn't quite get it. I thought I was looking down this little draw right here. And that is in fact right here. And off in this direction. Right there. I don't know if you can see it. In the middle of the screen, a little orange and white. That's the control feature. Let's go see if that's ours. That's a 76. And number 3 is 76. So now we gotta head down to number 4. Now number 4 on the map is just from right here. Should be down that direction. But I could use these little black lines there. Those are trails. That's my backstop. There's a trail junction there, so I'm just gonna shoot straight down. And if I hit those trails in the road, I kinda know where I'm at. Okay, so I made it down on the trail. So I wanna find this trail junction, and then I'll keep moving along this trail and cut over into this marshland. And then hopefully the control point will be over there. Actually, I guess in theory I could just cut down to this trail down here. There's a trail down there. I'll just do that. Okay, on the map, number 4 is at an X, which in the clue code it says 77, which is our control number. It's at an X, and X is a man-made object. And this is a man-made object. And this is control number 77. So they got these neat little E-taggers. There you go, it's done. Now I need to come over here to the map and figure out what to do for number 5. Number 5 though is on a trailhead. and in the control code it shows trail junction. So I'll probably just follow the trail. It's probably easier than bushwhacking. And then I'll come up to that junction and hopefully it'll be right there. So that's control point 5. They have some refreshments here, and you can see on the control card that next to 5 they show a trail junction, and then they got the little cup for refreshments. So we have a choice to make here. Sorry, let me move the map so it's not so shiny. There you go. We're at 5. We need to go to 6. So we could bushwhack it through the woods, but there's a big giant hill. I think what I'm going to do is follow that trail in the center of the screen, and then it gets right to that trail right there, and that goes all the way up to 6, and there'll be some buildings up there. It's a little out of focus, sorry. There you go. So that's what the plan is. My feet are starting to hurt a little bit. I think I'm getting blisters, which is odd, on the bottom of my feet from all the uneven terrain and sliding around, so I tightened my boots up a little bit. But that's a long hill, and I don't feel like walking through leaves. So we'll just take the trail. Take a little longer, but it might be more efficient. There's a manhole there, and a manhole here. And on the map, if we can get this in focus here, right there next to my thumb, there's manholes. Now I was supposed to take this trail right here, and somehow I missed it, so that's my backstop. I know I made a mistake. I gotta go back this way and find that trail up. Alright, that was marker number 6. It's in a cluster of buildings. There's another one up there. And the little code on the map here shows that it's going to be in the southeast corner. So, an example of the codes there. So this next one, I'm going to go out to the road and follow the road to where it Y's, and then I'll split off and shoot a bearing from there. Had a lot of issues with the trails. You know, I thought I was on one trail, and I go back and the map shows that there was trails there, and there isn't any trails. Now, I think this map is, you know, a couple years old at least, so it might have changed things around. Added new connector trails. I ran into somebody else and he was completely confused. He was just out running. He didn't know what trail he was on. And he had a map. And he ended up connecting up to the horse trail that goes through here. But he was still confused. And then I saw another dude who was out on the course doing the orienteering event. And he was just took a shot bearing through the woods and just started climbing a hill. So that might have been a better route. I guess you just gotta kind of make up your mind how you want to do it. But sometimes it might be better just to shoot and climb that hill. So keep moving along here. I am tired. I am tired. This entire course is 3.9 kilometers. And I guarantee you, because I'm making mistakes, that I'm walking a heck of a lot longer than that. So, but it's probably about 40 degrees out, so I'm sweating. But it's a good day. This is control number 8. The hint was a spur, a small one. You can see we have a little washout here. There's a little washout here. And then there's a larger spur right there, and a larger spur right here. And if you take a look at the map, see if I can't get it to focus in here. You can see that it's a really, really small spur. Knowing your terrain features on the map is very helpful. This is kind of part of the reason why I'm screwing up a couple times, is I'm getting confused as to which side of the spur I'm on. So, it just takes practice. But this is number 8, so we're gonna mark it and go. Alright, number 9 here is right on the edge of some grassland. That orange stuff is grass. But you can see that there's a road. There's a lot of man-made features there. This one is actually pretty easy to find. There's a major statue right up here at the end of the road. Okay, there you go. Major statue right up here at the end of the road. A little roundabout, and you can really see that well on the map. There's like this little green kind of black circle. You can see the parking lot, and the hint is a little like less than sign with dots. It's made out of dots, and that means a vegetation boundary. So that's going to be a change, an abrupt change in vegetation between grassland and trees, or perhaps deciduous and evergreen is another one that they told me it might be. And that's the hint that we have. And this is the last one, so it's right around the corner. We'll just take the road to it. Here's our forest. Here's our grassland. There's our boundary. And there's our control point. See, easy peasy. And all that was done by using the map. Didn't have to use the compass on that. So, I think part of my problem is I'm using the compass when I need to just use the map. I'm using the map when I need to just use the compass. So, last one. Alright, we'll head back up to the finish line. Do our little tag there too, and then we'll see what the time is. Okay guys, I'm back at the house, and I wanted to give you just a quick rundown of some of the maps and some of the mistakes that I made, just to show this stuff a little bit better. This was the clue sheet that was provided for the white course, and they don't use any of the symbols. They just actually sort of write it out and tell you what it is. Alright, so on the sheet here, it shows us what course we were on and our total time, when we started, when we finished, that sort of thing. And then it shows each of the control points, what the number was, and the time it took to get to those. And on the very right-hand column, we have total time. Now, for the most part, I did pretty decent on this this white course. I did have one problem that I wanted to show, and these are real good examples of problems that you're going to run into when you're orienteering or doing land navigation. You know, we all like to think we're pretty good at things, and I was pretty surprised at the simple mistakes that I made. So between track or control point number 8 and number 9, you can see that it took me 14 minutes and 26 seconds to get between those points. So here is the particular map. You can see that we start here with the triangle and we end there with the double circle. And for the most part, all these control points were on the trail. But this control point here, number 8, is where I had the issue. Now, I shot a simple, bearing over to course 9, and I started walking it. And I put my compass away, thinking, well, it was short and I'll just walk straight. Well, as many people know, you don't walk straight. And consequently, I ended up going a little further down and missing the whole thing. So what I'll try to do is I'll try to overlay here on a Google Earth topographical map and kind of show you where I screwed up. Now you can see in this overlay that I've laid out my GPS course in the black, and you can see that I started off moving directly from 8 to 9, but I started walking towards the left, and essentially I thought I was following this little kind of ridge line, and I wasn't. And then I ended up on a trail, and I thought, well, I just undershot, and I was on the trail just south of the control point. So as you can see, I wandered in this area down here on the trail, and I realized that no, I'm not on the right part of the trail. So then I walked back up and I came back to 8. So I was like, okay, well then I shot the compass and continued to shoot the compass all the way over to 9 and made it to the control point. So this was a case of not using my compass and trying to use the map and terrain features and confusing myself and ending up in the wrong location. So let's take a look at the orange course, and I'll show you where I screwed up there. So on the orange course, I didn't really have too much of a problem finding number 2, but when I moved to number 3, I shot my compass, and once again I started out on the bearing and I was doing all right, and I walked to the left. So apparently I walked to the left, and when I got to where I was, I became very confused because I thought I was at this particular point on the map when really I was over here, and I could see these 2 buildings, and that kind of threw me for a little loop. And what I should have done is realized that I wasn't exactly sure where I was. Shot a bearing off those buildings and kind of drew a line on my map along that bearing, and I would have realized that I was in the wrong spot, and I probably could have reshot and walked over to number 3. But instead I ended up walking down to the buildings and heading up the trail, trying to find my bearing a little bit better. Now you can see on the map here that they have these little dotted lines. Those are trails. Well, there was no trail there, and so consequently that kind of threw me off a little bit as well, and I ran into that problem over between control point 5 and 6. So let me show you that. Okay, so between 5 and 6 here, you can see that there's a lot of little trails that all move together, and I thought I was just going to kind of walk up, find this trail, and walk up the trail to number 6. Well, that trail is no longer there. And part of the reason is these maps are old. I didn't realize that until afterwards, but these maps are like 20 years old. So those trails may have been there, but they're not anymore. And you can see that the fine detail of the topo is a lot better on these orienteering maps compared to the USGS, which I'm using as an overlay in Google Earth. But still, if they're old maps, those features may not have been there. So I ended up using these little X's on there as my backstop, and I realized once I hit those that I'd passed up wherever that trail was supposed to be. And so I went back and eventually ended up just kind of bushwhacking a little bit and ended up on a trail that got me to exactly where I needed to be, and I moved on. But if you look at the timesheet, in here. So if you look at the timesheet here, you're going to see between the 5 and 6, it took me almost 19 minutes, when it probably should have taken me a lot less. But then if you also look between 2 and 3, you can see it took me 32 minutes to move between those control points. And once again, I had the problem of I shot my bearing, but I thought, well, okay, I'll just follow this terrain feature and it'll lead me where I need to go. And that was not the case. So I really should have used the compass and just continued to shoot straight through. So it's an important lesson to learn here, you know, between using your compass and your map together, and when to rely strictly on the compass and when to rely strictly on the map, and how to find you know, things like backstops or attack points, which are basically a place that you can get to and then you shoot a bearing, you know, to where you're going, like a junction of the road or something like that, that is easily found, and then you move to a finer grain of navigation. So those are some of the lessons that I learned. This is just to give you a little idea, this is the clue sheet that was provided. You can see they got a lot of different little codes and things like that that are you know, you kind of need to know. I wrote down some notes in the left-hand column before I had left. They had a cheat sheet out, so that was pretty helpful. But it took me a total of 2 hours to do the orange course, so it was pretty tough. But a lot of good lessons learned, which is one of the reasons why I was doing this. So you could take a look around at some of your own area and see if you have any orienteering clubs, or if your Department of Conservation may offer, you know, a course in land navigation. Is a very, very important skill to have if you're going to be out in the woods, and you know, you should definitely learn it. So I appreciate you watching this video. I had a lot of fun,
And I hope you get out there and practice some of these skills. Until the next time, take care.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
The interrupting cow.
The interrupting
Moo!